I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Omni viewer, and I think this is it. I think this is the end of Primal. We've reached the season 2 finale, and it feels like a series finale to me. Now the question is whether or not it was a good finale. But in order to determine that, let us go back to the beginning. You see, at the dawn of the universe, too far. Let's go back to the beginning of the episode. The episode opens with a flashback to Spear's childhood, and it's actually Spear's childhood this time. I remember, I think it was, the second episode of season 1, there was a flashback where, when I was doing the episode analysis, I said it was a flashback to Spear teaching his son how to hunt, and I remember a lot of people saying that I got that wrong, that it was actually Spear remembering his childhood, and that was his father teaching him. That never made sense to me, because every time I looked at that scene, I looked at the adult in there and I thought, that is obviously Spear. There's no variation in design, and I can't believe that Spear looks that much like his father. It had to be him teaching his son, right? Well, I'm glad I never recanted, because it turns out I was right. We actually do see a young Spear with his father this time, and his father is, let us say, a bit less evolved than Spear. He's hairier, he's got far more savage eyes, and we see a little bit of how Spear came to be who we know him as. We know that from a very young age, he had to fight for his own survival, and he knew what it was like to lose people. And the way it ends with him stopping the attack by those Smilodons on the cave tribe and being appointed the leader, it sets up this idea that Spear has always sort of been set apart, if you will. He was appointed the leader at a young age because he saved everyone, which meant he was above everyone. He was their protector, and you get the sense that's always carried over with him. He might have felt completely different about that when he had his own family, his wife and son and daughter, but he hasn't had them in the picture for a long time. We'll address that a bit more as we go forward. So, finally, after that sequence ends, we reach land, and Mira is home, and we get to see a little bit of her backstory, how she became captured. Turns out she wasn't even in the Viking village for all that long before she escaped. Like, when we first met her, she was literally jumping off the boat that was taking her to be a slave in that village. And, it's what you expect from that kind of story. It was horrifying to see what happened to her. And it didn't necessarily reveal anything that we couldn't already have guessed, other than the fact that she had only just been captured. But it was still good to see. Good to know that they really did think all of this through. Then we get a little bit of cuteness with the hatchlings trying to get off the boat, and Fang keeps stopping them, but eventually they just go anyway. It's nice that they introduce the hatchlings to provide a little bit of levity every once in a while. They're just so adorable, and I was still worried for them all the way through to the end, because you never know. And as we go along, we see Spear continue to try making a good connection with Mira. Like, he joins her in praying to the moon again. You kind of get the sense that he's at least trying. We know from the past that he still doesn't really understand the purpose of making these elaborate arm gestures at the moon, but he knows it's important to Mira, and he likes Mira, so he wants to at least try. And Mira appreciates it, and it's a nice moment between them. Another nice moment comes in the morning when Fang goes off to hunt, I guess, or she really did catch the scent of someone nearby from that far away. But she picks the hatchlings up before leaving and puts them by Spear because she trusts him now. That's a nice moment. Like when she first laid those eggs, she wasn't gonna let anyone near them without letting them know what exactly she felt. But now she knows where everyone stands. She trusts her children with Spear. Another nice moment. There were a lot of nice moments in this, including when Mira gets reunited with her friend, I believe it was Amara? Yes, it was Amara, I'm pretty sure of that, who it seemed was killed in her flashback, because they weren't the only ones there. Mira was just the only one on that particular day that was taken. And she someone she knew, at least, maybe not a close friend, but somebody she knew, took an axe to the back, and it looked like she was dead. Knowing that she was alive was a nice way to welcome Mira back, I think. And finally we get to Mira's home, and it seems like from the look on Spear's face, he's looking at this place and thinking, maybe I finally found a place where I belong. Maybe this is home now. No more wandering, no more fighting off deadly things over and over. Maybe now there's peace. But we all know Primal doesn't go that easily. Now, even though Spear seems to initially think he might have found a home, it quickly becomes apparent that he doesn't quite feel right there. He doesn't quite feel like he belongs. And this actually circles back to what was set up in the flashback, where he was put above everyone else as the protector, the one who will guard us all from danger. He just kind of sees himself existing in that role now. And he just doesn't know where he fits into a society that doesn't need that sort of protector. And he doesn't quite get what this society is all about. Like, during that ceremonial dance that's celebrating Mira's return, he makes the connection that one of the masked figures represents the moon that Mira makes those gestures to. But you see the look on his face as he's going, oh, I get the connection, but I don't get the reason. He still doesn't really understand what it's all about. And with that realization, he knows that this is so important to this particular culture. He doesn't get it. Maybe he doesn't belong here. So he gets up and goes to be with Fang and the hatchlings again, which is actually what I would do at a party. I'd much rather leave the main festivities and go spend time with the dog. If there is a dog. Usually at my house there is. I mean, I'm an introvert. That's what I do. That was a moment where I was like, yeah, Spear, I get that. But Mira's still trying, of course. Spear made an effort, so Mira makes an effort as well. She brings him to a place to stay, leading to another bit of comedy as Fang just invites herself in and busts through the door, literally. Like, it's... The second season has been a bit more willing to add a few light comedic moments. Not like it's, ha ha ha, this is a comedy now, but something to at least alleviate the tension a little bit. So, Spear still doesn't quite feel at home in there until he makes the connection that he's got a blank wall. So he decides to make the place his own, and he writes out the entire journey he's been on. Well, he draws it out, he can't write, but it's his whole journey. It's like a recap of the series right before our eyes. But the important part comes when we get to the end. We see that he's painted Fang, the hatchlings, and Mira together, but he painted himself standing apart. He still sees himself as alone. He's holding his spear in the drawing, so he is in a protective stance. He is the guard standing as a sentry, but he still doesn't feel like he belongs, which is the ultimate tragedy of Spear, it turns out. He doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere, certainly not after losing his original family. And Mira understands that, but there's really no time to dwell on it, because then the chief shows up again, and it's time for the final battle. The whole time I was looking at the clock as I was watching the episode thinking, how are they gonna fit all of this in the last couple minutes? Like, they're running out of time. Please do not end on another cliffhanger. I cannot bear another cliffhanger. Thankfully, they didn't. But they did eventually end, and what an ending it was. There was a moment briefly when the Viking chief is chasing Spear and Fang up the mountain, where he shapeshifts into a giant snake. And the moment I saw that, I thought, ooh, call back to the first season. I wonder if that means he's going to transform into a bunch of different creatures that Spear and Fang have met over the past series, and it'll be like sort of another throwback to recapping the season. Didn't happen. He just turns into a snake, and once he gets to the top, he turns back to his fire giant self. Was it a missed opportunity? Maybe, but I'm not shedding any tears over it. The main point is not to have a victory lap about how clever the show is. The main point is to bring the series to a conclusion. And what a heart-wrenching conclusion it is. First, the chief scores a hit on Fang, and she is in flames. It was horrifying to see. I was like, no, please don't kill her. I've already almost lost her once. Yes, I'm saying it that way. I am attached to these characters. And then he hits Spear. He's even worse, but Spear is so enraged that the fact that Fang, his constant companion this whole time, has been hurt, that it barely even affects him. And he goes after the fire demon. They plummet all the way down. And of course, by the time they reach the bottom, they're both spent. But given that Spear is flesh and blood, he's in far worse condition. And the Viking chief thinks he's gotten his revenge, but, well, you remember a couple of recaps ago where I said that I dwelled on the idea that good and evil exist in Primal, just not in the way we would normally see it. And one of the ideas was that it is right to survive, even if that requires you to kill. Killing is permissible as long as it is for survival, but killing for no reason or for reasons unrelated to survival would be evil. Well, I think this episode brings that point home, because the Viking chief clearly got Spear. Spear is burnt to a crisp, and when he sees that, he says, Vidar, Viking Norse for revenge. Like, yes, I won. And what happens? The devil reaches up and drags him straight back into hell. What did he achieve? He accomplished nothing. He got Spear, but he's still burning in hell. We don't know if that led to his son's salvation or not. I doubt it did. In all likelihood, he was just tricked into killing Spear just as one last torture. It accomplished nothing. His killing was pointless, and he ultimately still burns for it. After that, it becomes clear that Spear's not gonna make it. They have the blind medicine man come in to try healing him, but this is the one time it's not gonna work. And there is that sense of finality. Fang can't bear to be in the room. She leaves. But Mira stays, and when she learns that Spear still has a little bit of life left in him, cue the saxophone music. Not literally, but, well, yeah, it goes there. We don't actually see anything graphic, but it's clear what's going on. And I mean, Spear's body is just one giant raw nerve after that, so ouch. But there is a deeper reason for it. It's not just so the two lovebirds can have one last fling before one of them is gone. It circles back around to Spear seeing himself as being alone, as not belonging. Mira does this not just for the sake of doing it, but because she's basically proving to Spear in his final moments that he's not alone. He does belong. His perception of himself as the sentinel standing guard but never actually part of the community was not the truth. So there is a deeper meaning to it. And of course, that leads to the coda, where we see that not only is Fang still alive, but both of her hatchlings have survived, grown to adulthood, and Mira has born a daughter. Sure looks like a daughter to me. And that lineage will carry on. And this is actually our final proof that the chief loses, because he wanted his revenge. He wanted to kill Spear, but Spear has, in a way, survived. More accurately, he is survived by his new child. A child who clearly can fend for herself from the look of it, and she's got 3 Tyrannosaurus Rexes at her beck and call. So yeah, she's gonna be okay. So that's the thing. Spear's bloodline lives on while the Viking chief's has died, and not even his lust for vengeance could change that. So is this a proper ending to the story? I think so. I mean, how else could you end it? I kind of had a feeling that one of our main duo, either Spear or Fang, by the time we reached the end, one of them might not have made it. Or at the very least, something would happen that would separate them. I didn't necessarily know it would go exactly like this, but I had my feeling. Looking at the clues, there was always that hint. And, well, it did get to that particular place. It got to both of those places, and it got there naturally. That is exactly the way it should be when you're writing the ending to a story. You want it to feel like everything has led to that, and it feels earned. It's bittersweet in a way, because yes, Spear is gone. Fang is still alive, though, and Spear's legacy lives on. Who knows? Maybe he really is Darlington's ancestor. Anything is possible. Fan fiction writers, get on it. All the same, though, that does mean, or at least it seems like it means, this is the end. Now, true, Primal's second season wasn't announced immediately, so it's possible we'll get an announcement of a third season, though clearly, if we do get a third season, it won't be about Spear and Fang anymore. Maybe it'll be about Spear and Mira's daughter and the T-Rex twins. Who knows? But either way, this part of the story, if nothing else, this part of the story is over. And it's sort of a bittersweet feeling. Primal is a great series. It will remain a great series. I think it's going to go down in history as one of the greatest animated series ever. I'm sad to see it go, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it didn't overstay its welcome either. It lasted just long enough. It told the story it wanted to tell. It didn't overextend. I mean, again, I'm assuming that this is the finale, like the ultimate finale. At the very least, though, this story, I feel, was well told, and it has been one heck of a ride. Thank you, Genndy Tartakovsky, for bringing us on this ride, and well, I'm looking forward to whatever the next one is. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off.
Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.